Hey everybody, it's Literary
Hey,
Vandals. I'm here with Michael. I'm here with Joe B.
what's going on?
We were talking about writing routines. My writing routine is energy drink,
Hmm.
music with no words in it, and just kind of staring off into space for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But Marty, you also had that project of doing commissioned poetry on the fly at that bookstore, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do that from time to time. I'll just show up and people give me a prompt of something that they want me to write about, and I'll just hammer out a poem on my typewriter real quick, and people seem to like it. And I mean, nobody's demanded their money back yet, so that's good.
I mean, busking by itself is to say the very, very, very least underrated. Very underrated and very unsung. You know, to have someone you don't know, to go up to someone you don't know, give them a piece of your life, give them something to interpret in the form of poetry, and have them belt it out. And it's precision as if it was, I won't say precision because it's everything subjective, right? It's art. What else is it going to be? But just to where, whether or not it's serendipitous, whether or not this is what I thought you were going to say or write down, this was what I needed. I feel like as a but if you're a busker, that's what you do, you know?
Yeah, I try to go easier on myself when I'm busking,
Hmm.
because I'm a vicious editor when it comes to my own work, and that can jam up the signal if you're trying to belt something out real quick. So I give myself a little bit more leeway in that scenario.
I gotta I usually have to, like, I'll have the idea, and I think there's that part of you that wants to create something way more grandiose than what the real thing is going to be. And in your mind, it's supposed to be way better, whatever you put out, but somebody else will read it and be like, that is amazing. Like, like there's this one poet that we both know that I won't say any names, but it rhymes with Wyke Malin. Um, who wrote this poem called Short Girl Army. It is it is, at the risk of being grandiose and using a bunch of fancy words, it is quintessential literature. It's not just a great take on the human experience, or giving words to a human's experience. It's a powerful poem. Now, Mike, I don't know how you felt about it when it was done, but I've been in crowds and I've watched people's faces light up. I've watched tension come off certain people because you were like some people in the crowd were like, okay, this motherfucker gets it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This is like, and that's powerful to write to write from the perspective like a persona poem to write. Not even like it's different from a persona poem, but from the right to capture the experience of someone you may never ever be, and to do it justice. It's a powerful poem. But it's like I say all that to say that, like I said, I can't imagine what you feel. You're like, okay, this is cool, this works. And then to go out and then just have everybody else's reaction maybe be twofold what you expected.
Oh, thanks. That I haven't thought of that in a while. But the funniest story about that is a friend of mine from college. Her name is Megan Garrity, um, and she wrote a poem or a series of short stories that were like just paragraphs long. And the first line of each story was "You are a boy," and then it kind of told the story of each kind of fictitious boy. And I
Hmm.
thought it was brilliant, and I talked to her about it and asked if I could do something similar, and that's where Short Girl Army came from. And then she and I together put out like a flip zine where like one side is hers, then you turn it over and it's my side, and then we included both those pieces in it.
Hmm. I miss zines, man.
Yeah.
I really fucking miss zines.
I love zines.
Yeah.
We used to make one called Drag.
Mm-hmm.
It 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 only had 2 issues, but both of those release parties were insane. Like there was moonshine involved. It was a party.
Nice.
Marty, didn't you have a, I don't want to exaggerate. Didn't you have like a pattern of like a chapbook like a month or every 3 months? Like it was pretty rapid for a while.
I Yeah, I mean, I've released 3 books in a year before. I don't recommend it. People people get annoyed. Oh, he's doing it again, you know. But yeah, whenever I have enough material to put it out there, I just put it out there. Um,
I mean,
yeah.
you were at it like for a long time, like back in the days when I first got here, the zine scene was real heavy. It was to the point to where there was almost there was almost starting to become a commercialism aspect to it. Like there was this one zine called Feedback that I used to get copies of when I lived in Killeen, and it was about the DJ and rave scene. This is back when the rave scene was heavy, and you had all these, when you go into a store or a smoke shop or whatever, and you see all these really illustrious flyers that you couldn't look at if you had epilepsy. Because they was, you know what I'm talking about? They were so crazy, and I was always getting copies of that or the Chronicle from the record store in Killeen until I got here, and then everybody had it. When I got here, everybody had a zine about something, and this was back when the Hideout and Ruta Maya were our two strongest scenes. Like no matter what was going on, no matter what scene shut down or who got kicked out of what, we know we could either go to Ruta or the Hideout, and you would see zines there. Some people would have suitcases full of them to sell, if not just show and say, "Here, just take one" or whatever.
Yeah, Monkey Wrench was also a great hub
Yep.
for zines.
They
That's
still, I
where we
think,
would distribute.
I think they still are. Are they still over in the North Loop? I heard something about them moving, but I think they're still in the North Loop, right?
Hmm.
Last I checked, they were still there.
Yeah.
Last I went in there, they were like doing renovations or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, zines need to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I
hey,
remember.
you guys want to do a zine?
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Oh,
Get all
oh.
get all our friends in on it.
I tell you what, um, like on an average, I don't know if there's a actual number on an average of how many poems um a zine would have or whatever, but imagine the three of us busking and we have people just write ideas for poems, put them in the jar, and we say we're each gonna do like 10 apiece. You know what I'm saying? And we each pick from the jar, and we go until we have 10, and we make that a zine, type it out, and just staple stitch that motherfucker and just make copies and just run it right there.
That'd be
Well,
fun.
maybe
That's
not right
intense.
there. It is intense, and don't get me wrong. I have a copier here at home, but it's not something we could do right there on the spot. We could just maybe like make the poems like, and not even 10 apiece in one day, just like 2 or 3 days, once every month or whatever, and be like, hey, like say if we did like a live stream, you know what I'm saying? But then again, live stream that would go against it because if we're writing, we're not talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
that is kind of the difficulty of live writing is that you got to be quiet for a little bit,
right.
and yeah, that's but we can play around with this idea. There's something here.
I like it. And like I said, I got a copier. I got two printers. And and it's nothing for us to just run it off that and then just make it, and then we'll just have, and then we'd have like a live stream to where we just had copies of the zine ready for people to come and get a copy of. Hey, we're down at the so and so, come on down and get a copy of our new zine.
Oh, yeah.
Then we could talk.
But we were gonna. You guys want to get to the things that we read?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Whenever y'all
We
ready.
gotta come up with a segment title for that.
Mm.
The 3-pack. I don't know.
I can start again unless you want to rotate.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Okay. So this is another example of I found this in my house, and now it's time to read it. So this is the Southern Cipher presents Love, Revolution, and the Dirty South, the anthology. And it's from New Orleans, printed in 2002. So I've had this for at least
Mm.
and this is a poem. I didn't recognize any of the poets. There were some slam people, but they were a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
Um, this poet is named Immani Sheppard. And there are things I liked about it, but I won't spoil it, so we can talk about it afterwards. The poem is called African Gray. I think that I must have had wings in my past life, because even now I have this overwhelming urge to seek freedom and cause in my dreams. I envision myself perching on the porch railing of Josephine Matthews, and she, with Elizabeth Cotton, would read books from Jean Blackwell Hudson's library about revolutions, third eyes, and cursing the consciously blind through teachings about knowledge of self. I'd fly to David Walker's old house and read Freedom and his pamphlet for the revolution from the beast of burdens against a system designed without us in mind as humans. All the while, with my body feeling light with each brisk breeze that allowed me to spread my wings and fly, with the physical freedom that had not yet been experienced by all, yet embracing the servile spirits and mental liberation manifesting each time I take flight. I would fly over sit-ins in North Carolina, where silent students bury their faces in books while maintaining patience from racist bitches that refuse to serve them. Even then, I was pecking hog types with the tip of my beak, hoping to peck a hole big enough for a gleam of light to seep through pores of ignorance, then trickle down onto the cause for the revolution, attempting to shed it on the basis of our conclusions, lest we lose focus and gain serenity from taught conformity in the illusion of contentment, while gatekeeping journalists took pictures of files of our future's faces 5 years old, stifling through garbage heaps, living in open spaces in search of food to eat, with super brand bags on hepatitis infected bodies and arthritic feet. And I flew, y'all, flew to help them in search of sustenance while rapidly fluttering my wings on the white cheeks of those who chose to exploit this, causing bruises on faces masked with racist views on revolutionary issues, while our children tap dance for dollars in our kings shine shoes. I flew, y'all, I flew because I was searching and fighting for freedom, but instead of finding it, I soared across John Africa with spit running down his face, naked from the waist up, dreadlocks hanging like Negroes swanging on strange fruit trees, dripping with blood like perspiration, while hog types cocked back with helmet in hand, swinging, swinging, swinging again, each time with a force much harder than the last. Yet he and his family never quivered from gun blast. I flew, y'all, flew into the abyss. Go, injustice carrying souls of militant unsung heroes in my beak to the spirit of Jah, and then releasing it into the clouds where he and it became one again. I figure I must have had wings because even now I find myself swarming issues of insolence and asphyxiating them with confrontational knowledge. Power comes from within, which is why I think I must have been a bird, because even now I I find myself flying continuously in search of freedom and singing only for the congregation of revolutionaries.
Hmm. And you said that's Immani Sheppard?
Yes, Immani Sheppard.
I like the flight all the way through.
Yeah.
It really tied it all together.
So I grew up in New Jersey, and so I have a distinct memory of when when Move was bombed by
Right.
the Philadelphia police.
Mm-hmm.
So the line about John Africa with spit running down his face, John Africa was the founder of Move.
Right.
Um, Move had two like kind of famous events, and one was a shootout at one of their houses where John Africa was pulled out and arrested, and then the second was the Philadelphia police dropping a literal bomb onto connected row homes, which not only destroyed the Move house but the entire neighborhood because they're all connected. It was like an atrocity, right? Like
Right.
that, and you can see the footage of the police officer just literally dropping a package on the top of the roof and then the whole thing exploding. And then the whole neighborhood gets engulfed in flame. So that mention of John Africa kind of grabbed me right away because of the my memories of Move. But yeah, I also
It's
like the hopefulness of it. The like Marty was saying, the refrain of flight and all that it entails.
yeah. I mean, there's the aspect of time travel in the flight as well. You're going through the
Yeah, yeah.
different points in history and everything. The part where you said kings shall, where she says kings sell shoe, shine shoes.
Hmm.
The to say the least, the dismay. You know what I'm saying? Or degradation of a person as far as their, the breakdown of their pride to where this is the most they can do, and they think this is all they could do, and they come from so much more, and taking you through where all that came from. It's like she went backwards in time to show you, okay, this is where it all started. Even where she said the bodies didn't move even though they were shot.
Yeah, yeah.
There's layers to that. It's powerful. It's powerful stuff.
Oh, I also thought, just before we move on, it struck me that this book was from 2002,
Hmm.
and it would have been a much different book post Katrina.
Right.
That's from 2005, and I'd be curious to see how that would have impacted the writing. So there's
Oh, oh,
140 pages, but
it's
to see
strong now. So
start.
I can't even begin to imagine. The poem does more than punch. And that's something that I feel like that signature with writers from New Orleans is that there's so much of a gravity, and it's not about, oh, they're just blessed with that. It's just about what what you live where you're from. You know what I mean? You write what you grow up with, you write what you see, you write what you know, and all of that. And that being said, anybody from New Orleans, I remember, I remember back in the days. You remember, Mike, when Snow was so strong, people just got scared if they showed up. And I had like this idea in my head that just they would just all go up to the stage at once and be like, "We're Team Snow," and that's it. That's all they really had to say. And it wasn't because everybody pitied them because of Katrina. No, it's because their struggle, they made the most of their struggle of what they survived and struggled through in their writing, because there's a lot of real shit you see in New Orleans and Louisiana, period. So you have that visceral, what I'm saying, that visceral perspective. It's going to be a lot of strong from the gut substance with them every time.
And I feel like New Orleans is just a literary town. Like
Woo!
I I've to my shame I've never been. Um,
brother. Uh,
I know, I have to, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. When you go, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm not even going to tell you. Rule number one: there's nothing I can tell you to do to be ready for it. Number two: every painting, sketch, or photo of Marie Laveau will follow you with its eyes, no matter
mm,
what, no matter what, no matter what. It'll be, you can take a picture of that picture and it'll still just stare at you as you walk past. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I got to go back. I've only been twice and a piece of me is still there. There'll be so many, you'll run into, you'll have a bunch. I'll tell you what, I'll challenge you, Marty. I'll say not only go because you deserve it, but go on a mission to find places where you can just sit and write.
all
Because the
right.
city is littered with nooks and places where you can sit and just not just, oh, this seems ideal aesthetically and the way it's put together. No, you'll feel something right where you're at and you'll want to write there. Like when I left traveling, there was this, I went to go, I got a spotlight at this show and I had nowhere to stay my first night because I was a genius and didn't plan properly. And there was this guy, Mr. Sam, who was a horn player at the spot, and they were like, "Well, Mr. Sam's got a place, he'll put you up." He's like, "I'll put you up, but I need some help working on this house that I own that got flooded. It's got a house up top, and on the first floor is a business that I ran out of it, a restaurant. So I need your help fixing it up. So I'll let you stay the night, but you got to help me work on it in the morning." I said, "Say less." And there's, you tear away the building, you see the exposed beams and everything while it's being built or rebuilt. And he set up a cot for me near the corner with the windows open. And it wasn't raining and there were no bugs flying in or anything like that. But just laying there, I couldn't sleep because all I could hear was the city and it sounded so fucking alive. I,
Hmm.
I wanted to write so bad I couldn't because I was, you ever had that feeling to where like, man, I got to do something right now, but you're too busy in the moment just soaking it in. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have a few moments like those in that city, more than a few, friend. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
look forward to it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let me see. What do I? Marty, you got anything you want to?
Yeah, I got a thing.
Okay, let me see.
Did you want to do Robert Frost first or?
Oh, hell yeah. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. It's Robert Frost. You don't really gotta set it up. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping there to watch his woods fill up with snow. My horse might think it queer, my little horse might think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near between the wood and frozen lake the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. These woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Mr. Frost, y'all.
So what drew you to that?
I I mean, don't get me from the first time I heard this poem, I thought about the place that I was in, where I was at in my head emotionally, mentally. And it's always about you feel like you are the character. You know what I'm saying? Like he's talking about, he's talking about, so he's talking about the woods, and he's talking about how his horse is tripped out, about how, hey, this is not normally what we do, what's going on. And I feel like even though he's the owner of the guy who owns the woods and the woods in the area he lives in, the horse that he knows is confused by what's going on. I feel like he's personifying his hesitance. He's dedicated. He's stalwart. He's got to do what he's got to do. But I think he's projecting his hesitance through that. Like who's this? Who I know the guy that lives here. His house is over there down by the village and everything. Like yeah, you're not worried about the guy in the house. You're shaking off whatever little doubts you have before you go and get this thing on. And this horse is like, oh, my horse thinks it's crazy that we're over here. He's wondering if I'm tripping. And I'm like, no, the house, the horse isn't the one that's wondering if you're tripping. You're just removing some of the doubt before you go. And those last two lines when he says it and says it again, He's reminding himself, he's reaffirming that how important the task at hand is. He's reminding himself.
It kind of reminds me of this time that I was no, I won't tell that story. It's a stupid story, but um I'll be honest with you, like I just don't like Robert Frost. I but I also don't like rhyming poetry just generally.
Mhm.
But I like your interpretation of it, that it's about plodding ahead regardless of your trepidations and whatnot.
Well, I mean, rhyming poetry by itself can there's 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 always going to be a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah.
Same as the love-hate relationship with love poetry itself. It always seems if you're not doing it right, it always seems like an easy way out. If you do rhyme, you can't make it a sugar pill. You've got to be able to take the reader on a journey with you and not just get, oh, I'm just waiting for the next rhyming line. You know what I'm saying? It can't be a roller coaster. It's got to be a path. It's got to be a journey.
Yeah, it's just such a stigma for me immediately whenever there's a rhyming scheme. It turns me off so much that it has to be absolutely spectacular for me to get into it.
Yeah.
Like William Blake. I love William Blake.
Tiger.
A sunflower weary of time who counteth the steps of the sun.
Mm.
I like that Robert Frost poem because I always think of it like I really want to fucking die, but I have shit to do.
Yes. Yes. And miles to go. It's
I
right
just want to
there.
lay down in the snow and freeze to death.
And that's all. And you know what it is? It reminds me of when I used to pull hack in Killeen. I used to drive taxi, and I
Oh,
just that's what they used to that's a friend of mine I worked with. He said that's what they used to call it in Chicago. A coworker. He's like, yeah, how long you been pulling hack? I was like, pulled a what? Like
dare you, sir?
how do you know my life? Are you a cop? Are you a cop? But it's like there's I was I was driving taxi because I had just lost my apartment, and there was a hell of a lot more even behind that, and I just wanted to get back on my feet. And when you're in that quote unquote grind mode, or when you're in that mode to where there's such a strong imperative to do what needs to be done, part of you just wants to shut down, switch off. Hey, let me just go to sleep. Y'all wake me up when it's done. You can't say wake me when we get there if you're the one driving. And that's what that is. And you don't have the right to get tired. I remember one time I drove 36 hours straight
That's not good for anybody.
because I was so desperate to just get out. I was staying back with my dad after I lost the apartment, and me and him were at odds. I just wanted to get back on my feet. I just didn't want to fall that far again. And so I drove for like 36 hours. I came home, hugged my stepmom, walked in the bedroom and blacked out. Woke up like 12 hours later and still felt that fatigue and still wanted to get back out there and do it again because it was the only way I knew that I was going to be able to get it. And when you're in that mode, such as the main character here is in, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you're not going to give me a better way to do it, I got to keep these reins in my hand.
Yeah, I was a cab driver here, and it was a very similar situation. I had just lost my place, and I was basically living out of the cab,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't drive 36 hours.
So, God, because
I
I do not
drove
recommend it.
I drove like you know 15 hours, but yeah. You know, I have more respect for Robert Frost after this conversation. I'll say that.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
What do you got?
Oh, it's not a poem, it's a play. It's real short. It's called Skeleton Story. I published it in Blood and Honey a few weeks ago.
Mm.
It goes like this: Skeleton Story, Scene 1. It only has one scene, so Skeleton 1 and Skeleton 2 walk along the cemetery path lit by a wrought iron gas lamp overhanging. Skeleton 1 and Skeleton 2 regard the jutting stone monuments along their passage. Skeleton 1. They are all here, the wretched and the noble, the demure and the bellicose, the fixated and the listless. Skeleton 2. They are all here, the ones who work ceaselessly until one day they were too tired to carry on and lay down their tools of toil for a seat to catch their breaths. Skeleton 1 and Skeleton 2 walk to a park bench overlooking the cemetery from a high hill. Skeleton 1. I do not miss the toil of it, the ingestion of medicines, the scramble for more days. Skeleton 2. I miss malingering at dusklight, and feeling the heart's blue howling in the wilderness. Let me take that again. Skeleton 2. I miss malingering at dusklight and feeling the heart's blue howling in the wilderness. Skeleton 1. Waiting in grocery lines, bank lines, traffic, waiting for buses, waiting for your lover to come home, waiting for something grand to happen. Skeleton 2. A beer well poured in a room full of loud friends, the anticipation of pie in the oven, a standing ovation. Skeleton 1. Steepled hillsides pointing their ringed fingers heavenward in New England villages, foliage ablaze with fall's hues. Skeleton 2. The glory of beating other people in the game. Skeleton and skeleton curl up in a pile such that their individual forms collapse to remains. That's it.
Mhm.
It was originally a short story, but then I realized it was a play, so I reformatted it.
Read me, if you don't mind, read me the part about the last two skeletons again.
Like the last line?
Yeah.
Skeleton and skeleton curl up in a pile such that their individual forms collapse to remains.
Mm. It's just listening to it, I feel like one envies the the last two because all the other skeletons are driven by the purposes, the passions, the vices, whatever. They all have their things, right? But the other two, instead of just having a thing, they just fold into each other and they just collapse. There's no need to define or exist or perform. Or do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
That's what I love that.
it's like Lao Tzu, do not strive among men,
Yeah,
now that all their striving is through, they can observe it neutrally.
I love it. That's pretty dope, bro.
So
Thanks, man.
the notion that death is the great equalizer is, familiar, and then recognizing that um, it's the little things that, like sort of precious moments that we would most miss. Um, I think are things that we probably end up thinking about a lot. But when I read this earlier, I was really struck that it's a play, and I was like, well, how do you put this on the stage? Like, it would look kind of weird if it were like people wearing like skeletal like bones or like black clothing with bone outlines. So then I thought, well, yeah, like maybe these are like marionette skeletons, and then who's the audience for a marionette play? No, children. So then I imagine this sudden flood of existential dread awash all over these children who have never had these thoughts before.
I'll tell you what, I saw a Samuel Beckett play once that was performed by marionettes,
Yeah.
and it was so deeply affecting. I was like crying in the audience. Um, those Play Without Words 1 or 2. ACC, Austin Community College, put on like a series of absurdist plays in one night, and that was one of the best performance experiences of my life. But yeah, puppets doing deep shit.
Friend of mine, he was dropping his kid off at daycare, and Henry must have been at least 4 or 5 around then. And he always says such profound stuff for his age. And one day he was just sitting in the back seat. He was upset about something. And my friend Chris was telling me this while it was going on. He's like, I asked him what was wrong. I was like, "What's wrong, bud?" He said, "What's wrong, bud?" And Henry, still looking out the window, he was like, "I am Spider-Man, but I am not the Spider." And that was all he said. Said, "Did your child just have an existential crisis before he could buy fucking cigarettes?" He's like, "I think that's just what happened." I said, "That's the kind of, I say this to say, that's your audience right there. That's your,
Okay, I'll
yeah,
take it,
yeah, that's your audience right there. Yeah,
so
yeah,
long as I've got an audience.
yeah.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to leave it. I gotta go to the bathroom, y'all. All
All
right,
right.
we'll catch y'all next week.
Cool.
Indeed. Yeah, take care.
Right.
Bye.